Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you here are high school students? Oh, that's a lot. And how many of you are university students? Okay, so I want everyone in this room to imagine a scenario with me. Imagine a high school event that is full of excitement. The students are all lining up to showcase their skills, their talent, to prove to the organizers that they are deserving to be chosen for a school project. Well, in the middle of that energy, I want you to picture a figure that is standing on the sideline, that is waiting for her turn to speak, despite knowing that she's never going to be chosen. That figure that you just imagined, that was me. I was a very quiet kid, and I was so shy back then. I was constantly overlooked. You would find me at the back of the class, in the corner of the room, trying to hide myself, trying to make myself look small, so that no one would notice me. Now I know what you're thinking. How come that individual had the opportunity to stand here, to give a speech, to share her story? And I'm exactly here to tell you why. To tell you the stages of my life that got me to this exact moment. Welcome to the narrative of the voice of the youth. The story of transformation, empowerment, and the victory against the impossible. So first, let me invite all of you into a chapter of my life. The time when I found myself on the sidelines, when I was constantly overlooked and unheard. So every year, I started to become more and more qualified for the goal, for the dream that I was chasing. And that thing, it made me realize that all it takes to change an individual life was for one person to believe in them. And that's when I realized that my experience is not something new. There are kids, there are youth out there that are experiencing the same thing. And so what if no one supports them? I was fortunate enough to have my mom supporting me, but what if no one out there supports them? Wouldn't all their potential go to waste? And that's when I had the desire to transform my limitation into opportunities. That's when I wanted to carve a new path. That's when I wanted to build a new path for kids, for other people out there that are just like me. And with that realization, birthed Voice of the Youth. A diverse platform that cherishes every voice, that embraces every perspective and celebrates the uniqueness in each and every one of us. So today, as I stand here, I'm honored and proud to introduce myself as the founder of the Voice of the Youth organization. My name is Sochhen, and I'm 18. My vision, it stems from a profound commitment to nurture the potential of young minds. Because Voice of the Youth is not just an organization, it is a promise. A promise that no one should feel excluded, and that everyone, each and every one of you, deserves a platform to shine. However, my journey to get there, even if I had this burning passion to build an easier path for youth, my journey to get there was not easy for myself. Because when Voice of the Youth came into existence, that's when I went on a journey. A journey that I had yet to fully understand. The expectation and pressure, it fell heavily upon me. Could you imagine hosting an event where a single mistake or a single error could lead to a significant consequence for the entire organization? And this is something that you usually see your parents or your teacher, adults take on. But before I knew it, I found myself stepping into this role at the age of 15. And so because of that, I started to organize, and on top of the pressure to organize the event flawlessly, one lesson that I learned the hard way is that no one is ever going to be satisfied with your work. Not everyone is going to be satisfied with your work, no matter how hard you try. And so I started to embark on a journey. And there was a specific event that I hosted in 2022. It's the second season. After we hosted our event, these were the things that we received. So that same night, when I received that criticism, it was really hard for me. As a 15-year-old, I was in this fragile state of mind, so I believed everything, every negative things that people said. And I believed that I was not good enough, no matter how hard I tried. And I made a single decision, something that you would have expected a 15-year-old to do. That decision was to give up, and I did. So after months and months of trying to hide myself, trying to isolate myself, because the fact that I embarrassed myself in front of people, in front of a big audience, that's when I tried to hide and isolate myself from the world. That's when I went back to stage 1 of my life again, when I tried to hide myself. And to the point where I started to develop this fear of being seen. But after months and months of hiding myself, I developed an interest in volunteering. I started to volunteer for many events. You would see me everywhere, from food festival to debate to public speaking. I was everywhere. It was to the point where I felt like I was learning more from volunteering than school itself. And so I kept on volunteering and volunteering. And the thing about volunteering is that when I go there, I meet different people. And those people are people that have failed plenty of time, that have embarrassed themselves plenty of time. And that's when I realized that failing, making mistakes, embarrass yourself, it is all human experience. And it is completely okay. And that's when I brought that passion of mine, Voice of the Youth, back to life. However, as I was planning for the 3rd season, the voices at the back of my head, it kept on telling me that you should stop whatever you're doing right now, because remember what happened last time? You should stop it. And I felt like no one is ever going to take me seriously, because as a 15-year-old managing people that are way older than me, how are they going to take me seriously? But then, I still went for it. I submitted a proposal to a place, which is a company, for sponsorship, for them to give us a venue. And I didn't expect much, because back then we were just a youth organization, and compared to them, we were nothing. And I thought to myself, how am I going to help them generate profit from this sponsorship, because they are a whole organization, and I'm just a small youth organization. And so the good news is that they replied back. They called us in to meet them. And I was like, I took a step back, because as a 15-year-old, being invited to meet a company representative, this is not something to be excited about. But then I went for it. I was preparing overnight, I was doing research, and I went for it. And guess how we did? Horribly. I kept on blurting things out of nervousness. They were asking me questions, big questions that I had no answers to. And I kept on saying random things. And so I came home that day. But guess what? Even if I thought that I did horribly, they emailed us back that evening. They were willing to sponsor us. And that was the beginning of our journey. Since then, Voice of the Youth has continued hosting events, programs, courses that inspire change and make a difference. So in this whole journey, before I had the privilege to stand here, to call myself as the founder, I discovered a truth. And that truth is the power within impossibility. No matter how many times people tell you that your dreams are impossible, no matter how many times you believe that your dreams are unreachable, that's when you have to realize, that's when you have to remember that you have the power to create your own reality. Because I was able to transform my limitation into opportunities, and I was also able to transform my impossible dreams into a thriving reality. So I hope all of you know how proud I am to share today with you. Thank you.